2 weeks ago, I finished 10th at the Bath Half Marathon in 64:49, and you could say it wasn't exactly the result I was after. Today I wanted to talk through exactly why the race went wrong and why I've already travelled back to England to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So I did get a few comments telling me that I should have been happy with the result, so I wanted to start this video by addressing why I wasn't. 2 years ago, or 10,000 miles ago, I ran a half marathon PB of 64:40 in Napoli, and at the time I was one, way worse at running, and two, pretty disappointed with the actual time. I turned up at this race and 6 guys took off trying to break 60 minutes and I finished 7th in 64:40. So I was doing a lot of running on the front of my group alone, and there was also this huge hill at 20k. The point is, I'm pretty sure my half marathon PB is my worst distance PB, so I really wasn't using that as a benchmark for success going into Bath, and instead was basing my expectations on my more recent 10k results and my sessions, which I felt indicated more like a 62 high performance. However, it's not just the time that I was disappointed with, and there's definitely a race scenario where I could have been a lot happier with the time. I think the main reason why this result affected me a lot more than it should have is because I do all my sessions alone, and because I was doing sessions in the build that I'd never thought possible. I genuinely was training thinking that I'd moved up a level. Like, I thought that I could hang with Phil Sessman and Jake Smith for like 10k, and looking back now at the results, this was probably a bit delusional because they went through 10k only 12 seconds slower than my PB. But finding out you're delusional still stings a little bit in the moment. There was also the move that fellow YouTuber Ed Buck made around 9 miles that I just couldn't go with, and there's no excuse for it other than I wasn't good enough to go with it. Which again, tough one to take considering I thought that I could run 2 minutes quicker than I did. At the end of the day, I'm always going to be my biggest critic, and hopefully that's why I just keep improving. But anyway, let's move on to why I think this result didn't go to plan and what I'm doing to make sure that doesn't happen again. So in my mind, there are 4 main reasons why this race didn't go to plan. And reason number 4 is the one that's already taken me to a tiny village in England. Now, I want to start by saying that none of these are excuses. They're just reasons that I need to consider for my own mental sanity. Everyone who beat me on the day was a better runner on the day. Everyone's got stuff they need to deal with on race day, and they dealt with it better than I did. But let's start with the most important reason why I don't think this race went to plan, and it's that 60% of you are not subscribed. No, okay, actually. Reason number 1 is that I slept so badly the night before. I know there's the whole, it's not the night before, it's the night before the night before, but I'm clearly just someone who needs sleep, and I look back on my Coros data and I get great sleeps every single night before and since the race. Great sleeps all round. Night before the race, poor sleep. I really don't know where it came from. I just couldn't get back to sleep once I woke up for the toilet at like 2 AM. I really don't think there's much else I could have done on that particular night. There's a few lessons I've learned. Just make sure the Airbnb is not next to a busy road. And I've also got myself some fancy magnesium stuff that should hopefully help me sleep a bit. But other than that, it's just hopefully was a bad night and is what it is. I'll keep this second reason short because I hate to moan about it, but it was windy. It just was. It felt like it was swirling in every direction, and I'm usually pretty strong in the wind, and I think I was pretty strong in the wind on that day, but it's not exactly what you're after when you're trying to run fast. Reason number 3 why I don't think I got the result that I was after is that the race just wasn't really there for it. Those front guys went through 10k in 61-minute pace, and then there was my group where the fastest guy from that ran 64:04. So really, for the time that I was wanting to run, like 62:50 to 63:20, I was going to be running by myself, or I was going to be coming back. And I do just think that even if I had the best run of my life, I wasn't going to get that home run, massive PB performance that I kind of was looking for. The 4th and final reason that I didn't have a great day, and honestly the one that contributed the most to me being miserable afterwards, is that I got cramp after 10 miles. I've gotten cramp in every full marathon that I've ever run, and it's the one thing that I've never been able to figure out. The severity of this cramp varies. Sometimes it's like race over, like it was in Berlin and like it was in my first ever marathon. And sometimes I can just alter my running style so that I'm taking more short, shuffly steps while pretty much maintaining my pace like I could in my PB marathon. Now this style altering maintenance is what I got away with in Bath, and you can see that my splits don't really change, but I feel like I definitely had more to give in that last 3 miles, and I definitely don't think I should be getting cramp only 45 minutes into a race. I'm still trying to figure this cramp out, and I know that it may just be something that I always have to deal with in some capacity. However, last week I went down to England to get myself a sweat test, basically just to find out how much salt is in my sweat. So I found out that every litre of my sweat contains 1,331 milligrams of sodium. And on a 1 hour easy jog last week, I lost 1.4 kilos, so 1.4 litres of sweat. And as far as I'm aware, these numbers are pretty high. They're not like crazy massive, but together they can cause some issues. And honestly, I'm just glad that I've got some numbers to put behind it now, because I've done the whole salt thing a bit too much. I've obviously done it too little. So now that I've got numbers and I know what's hopefully just right, I can at least do better when it comes to the marathon. And it's not like I'm getting to a marathon every 6 months or even every year and starting from scratch trying to figure it out again, because I have never had cramp in training, ever. And I'm now getting it in a half marathon. So it's always been a difficult thing for me to get to the bottom of. Now, this cramp could also be a strength issue. This would surprise me because I do calf raises like 4 days a week. However, it's definitely something that I'm going to explore after I get my spring racing calendar out the way. I've been doing the same gym routine for a long time, and I think it would just be good to get a strength coach that can look over what I'm doing, make sure I'm not missing anything obvious or not utilising my time in the best way when it comes to the actual strength work. So have the plans actually changed since Bath? Well, the short answer is yes. I've not been the quickest on this video upload, so the observant among you will probably have realised that I didn't run the Scottish 10 mile champs, which I had entered and which I had planned to run. Now, this decision wasn't made purely on the Bath result. As I said, I think there was reasons for why that result wasn't quite what I hoped for, but really, me and my coach just decided that we weren't going to gain much from the Scottish 10 mile champs because we'd done all the threshold work and the longer sessions and the half marathon race. However, we haven't done any of that faster 5k work. So running the 10 mile champs would just have taken away 2 or 3 weeks that we could have really been smashing the track stuff. And we wanted to get a leg up on that because really at the end of the day, the goals haven't changed. The goals for this spring have always been to run the fastest 10k possible. And I really didn't want to compromise on that goal just because I had already entered a race that now didn't fit the plan so well. So instead of the 10 mile champs, we got into 5k training almost immediately after Bath, and it's been going really well. So I entered a 5k on the 18th of April, which is just over 2 weeks away now, and it's going to be exciting. I don't know how it's going to go. It's the same as the approach to Bath. I feel like I'm doing sessions that I could never do before, but you really don't know until you race. So if you're excited to see how that 5k goes, then please subscribe. I hope that that kind of covered why I was feeling how I did after Bath. I know that I didn't really cover it in the video, so apologies for the long wait if you were interested. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Cheers!